Hello and welcome to Single Parent Success Stories. Today we have a wonderful guest joining us from Ireland. Her name is Melody Chadamoyo, a relationship mentor and coach for professional women that don't want to settle for okay, but want to get great partnerships and experiences in their personal life. She has a holistic and great actionable tools and insights that can help you today, whether you're looking for someone or in a long-term relationship. Melody is a single mom of one. Welcome, Melody. It is a pleasure to have you.
Hi, Irina. Thank you so much. I'm so happy to be here.
Yeah, me too. Thank you for joining me. Please share with us your story. How did you become a single mom?
My story is, it's complicated, but really, I became a single mom because my husband died, and he got cancer. He was very ill, and then, eventually, he just couldn't cope, and he passed away. It was very, very hard for me because I really loved my husband, and during that time when I was looking after him, I I wasn't really thinking about my child as such. I was just coasting, like I was just thinking, oh, I'll focus on her when things are fine. And then after he passed away, I was devastated. I think for the first 3 months, I was I wasn't even aware of her. I wasn't even thinking of her needs and what she wanted and stuff. I was just um surviving, I would say. I was surviving day to day. And I still remember, like, in our culture, when somebody passes away, people gather together. I'm in Ireland, but still people from my country, from Zimbabwe, came and we gathered together. And everybody took time to tell me that the most important thing now was to focus on my child. And I was like, I don't know how to do that because I can't even cope right now with myself. Anyway, my daughter, after 3 months, I was actually thinking I just wanted to end it all. And then she looked at me one day and she said, "You are going to die too, aren't you?" And I said, "What makes you say that?" And she said, "No, I just know you're going to die too." And I vowed from that day that I was going to heal whatever, how painful it was. I was not only was I going to heal, I was going to thrive because I didn't want my child to grow up in a world thinking when bad things happen, that's the end. That's the end of your story. So I made a commitment to myself and to her that I was going to do everything I could to make it and to make a home a happy home like it was before. And that's what I did. It was hard. It could have been easier to actually really just succumb and lie down and never wake up, but I owed it that much.
Yes, and it's amazing and incredible. I can relate in a way, not in a similar situation, but realizing that we can do better for our kids. And I did it out of my story was to recover after breakup and realizing that I needed more energy and I can no longer live like that and making a decision that something gotta change.
Yeah, and understanding that um, whatever picture, whatever environment you create for your children, that's it. This is the world you're creating for them. They're going to go into the future with this image of home being you miserable, being you crying, being you lying in your bed every time. That's it. That's the world. And I think if we think about that, we think about the impact that has on this little person as they grow into adulthood. Most of the choices and the decisions we make stop making sense. Like we start to really consider because our children are our future. They create the world that is going to happen. And if they are emotionally traumatized, they're going to create an emotionally traumatized world. And that's not good. It's not good enough.
No, no. What kind of advice would you have given your younger self?
That it is okay to let go. It is okay to cry. I've always been, fortunately, because I was lucky enough to grow up in a home where parents listened to me. So expressing myself has never been a problem. And knowing my emotions has never been a problem. I think my dad worked really hard to make me a tougher person because I'm the firstborn of 5 children, and he wanted me to be a little bit tougher. And I became a little bit tougher, but I also am really gooey inside. I'm one of so I think sometimes, yeah, you need to be a little bit tougher and you express yourself a lot, and like say what you want, ask for what you need, and be yourself. That's the advice I would give myself, because I used to just let things happen. Like I would be so quiet and then explode, because I would let people say whatever they wanted to say and do whatever they wanted to do. And then in my head, I'll be saying, I don't like this, I don't like this, I don't like this. And then at some point, I would just go, and then everything would come out. And it was never a good thing, because most of the time you overreact over a very small thing, and then you don't have as much impact. So I would tell my younger self that actually just say it then, and it doesn't have to be a fight. You can you can calmly express yourself. You can calmly tell people you don't like something. It doesn't have to be in an explosive manner for people to listen to you. Yeah.
I'm actually the same way. I have a very great patience, but when
Yes.
that patience wears thin, I see red. I see
Yeah. Yeah.
no stopping. It's like that's it. I had enough.
I totally understand. I'm not like that now. I've grown up. And mainly because part of it was, the work I do now, part of it was in my relationship with my husband, because we got to a point where we were not okay as a couple, and after we migrated to Ireland, and I would scream and scream and scream, and my husband had this thing where he would just shut me down. Like, you would see it even in his eyes, he's not looking at you anymore. And sometimes he would even say, I don't talk to you when you're doing that. And so I learned that screaming does not get me what I want, but expressing myself, like telling him why it is painful, why it hurts, and why it's important to me, gets me what I want. And the beauty of it was my husband was happy to give me what I wanted. I just needed to express it in a way he understood. And once I got that, we never had a fight again. And yeah, so that's
That's amazing. To have the communication and the ability to express, because oftentimes we can't, we make it too complicated of expressing ourselves and so something insurmountable. What do you think is the most important trait to instill in a child?
confidence. Yeah. Yeah. I think confidence is the one trait that once they believe in themselves, once they know they can try something and succeed or not, and they will be okay, that's the best gift you can give, right? It's like, I can explore everything. And confidence is very difficult to give, because parents want to protect their kids. And because we want to protect our kids, we're always telling them things that are scary. We always tell them things that limit them. And we don't take the time to hear them when they speak, because we are so busy. We are so busy doing everything. And if you're a single mom, it's doubly worse. But when you listen to a child, whether they're 2 years old or they're 5 or they're 15, you get to know them at their core. And when they trust that when they come to you and they reveal who they are, and you will receive that without judgment, they will go into the world with confidence because you have created their world to make them important, to make what they say important. So when they go out into the world, they thrive. They stand up. Like I would say most of my life, like when I was growing up, even now, being able to speak to you, being able to articulate what I'm saying, is the training I got from home. It's the my parents allowed me to express myself and ask questions if I didn't understand something. And now it doesn't matter where I am. I don't have that fear that people will judge me. I just open my mouth and I speak. And sometimes I speak in a jumbled way, right? Because my brain moves too fast. But even then, I don't feel superly like I don't judge myself for that. I just say, sure, I had an off day today. and 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 that's it. But I see a lot of women, especially, they disregard themselves. They don't speak up when they should, and then they are raging, and then they become bitter inside because all those things you're keeping inside you, they harm you and everybody that you love who's around you.
So true. How did you come to be doing the work that you do now in relationship mentorship?
I mentioned that I had a problem with my husband, and we were not communicating. I felt, and now I know it's because we migrated, and we, fear, survival kind of brain man that I didn't know about. Nobody spoke about that years ago, but now we know that, when you introduce something new, your brain goes into resistance mode. So when you are in that mode, you can't love anybody because you are in survival, right? So we were both in survival. We were both feeling isolated. We were both feeling unloved. And 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 so I blamed him for how I was feeling. I was feeling, and yeah, it was all his fault. Like something was wrong with him. And because I'm very articulate, like I sat him down and I explained what was wrong with him, what he should fix, and how he should fix it. You can imagine how greatly that worked. Not. And then I was very angry and I thought, okay, I need to find another husband because obviously this one is useless. But I couldn't because I was studying for my master's. I was working full time and we had a baby. What I haven't said yet was I had, when I had my daughter, I had already had 4 miscarriages and she was my fifth pregnancy, and she was severely premature. She was born at 26 weeks. So this was like a golden child as far as the two of us were concerned. So despite the fact that I didn't want him to be my husband, I also did not want to take this child, this golden child we shared, away from him. So I hesitated moving out or chucking him out because he was going to go. I wasn't going anyway. But but when I was hesitating, I also said, but I can't live like this. Something has to change. So I started doing research, looking at what works in relationship, what doesn't work. How can I make my home a place I want to go back to after work every day? How can I feel happy in my home? And I found Dr. Harvey Hendricks, Getting the Love You Want. And in that book, it talks about you. It talks about loving yourself. It talks about, looking after yourself. It's more about you taking care of you. And when I started doing that, when I stopped sacrificing my joy for him, and he didn't even know I was doing that anyway. So when I stopped um, knowing where his clothes were, but I wasn't taking care of me. Going into a shop and buying him clothes and my daughter clothes and forget about me. Those kind of things. I started going to the gym, having fun, having friends, girlfriends, having time with my girlfriends. I started to feel happier, and all of a sudden we talked. We were close. We were we were friends again. And then we started getting back to each other as a couple. So when my husband passed away, and we lived in this bubble of joy and fun and bliss for 6 years. And and then after he passed away, my sister said, actually, I went to therapy, and when I was doing therapy, my therapist said, "Do you realize that many people don't live like that?" And I said, "What do you mean?" And she said, "No, people are not as happy as you were." And I was like, I really believed, yes, couples go through a rough patch, but they can fix things. But the bit I didn't understand was you can only fix things if you know what to do and how to do it. So when I discovered most women don't know how to fix things and what to do in order to fix things, I decided to use all that knowledge that I had gotten and help others, because there's nothing special about me except I went researched. I took what I researched and put it into action. Most people do find things out, but sometimes they don't know how to put them into action. And that's where I come in. I help people, fix things that way. Yeah.
That's amazing. I love it. How you were able to live that, not just in your head, but physically practice it and embody it. I think it's amazing, and it is so needed.
Mhm.
What kind of advice would you give to present single parents who are just stepping onto that single parenting journey?
Um, Nobody's perfect. Love yourself. Give yourself time to be, even if it's 5 minutes. So, and communicate. Like, communicating is so good. I don't like talking in the morning. So I told my child that you don't ask me for things first thing in the morning, ever. If you want me to rage at you, ask me for stuff. If you need things for school, tell me the night before. And I wake up knowing I need to do this, and that. And we have an understanding. Ask for help. Ask for help in terms of you might know another single mom. Co-parent. There's no reason why you can't do that. There are no laws against it, and you get help. Like I've said I'm a single mom. I've co-parented with my sister. We both single moms. We decided to live together in the same house so that one of us can have time to go and maybe date or something. And we're good friends. My sister and I are good friends. We practice relationship things together. We are not a couple, as in a couple of sexually connected people. We are just sisters, but we've co-parented. A child is my child is her child. If somebody needs to be picked up and the other one is busy, we do that. People say, how did you even think of that? It's the easiest thing you can ever do, right? Don't try to be a perfect person, because nobody is. If you can get help, get help. Your children would love you for it. If you can get yourself, even if it means you ask your neighbor to mind your kids for 2 minutes or 5 minutes or 20, while you are sitting down on your couch doing absolutely nothing except listening to your breathing, your children will have a better mother then.
Yes,
So,
that's
yeah.
so true.
Mm.
Taking time for yourself and asking for help, and it's okay to ask for help, because growing up, it may, like, asking for help, like, are you weak? Why can't you do it yourself? And taking time for yourself also is important. And I was growing up, like, once you have kids, you gotta forget about yourself. You have kids, you gotta take care of them. But if we don't take care of ourselves, what kind of taking care of, like, kids see some kind of a leftover version, stressed out, raging person. And I love how you have this agreement with your child that mommy doesn't speak in the morning. Anything you need, tell me the night before. That is amazing. Keeps
Yeah,
you
and I have
sane, and you keep your child sane, and nobody gets angry. We have an agreement.
yes, and children understand that. They like rules. They like things that are sustainable. And I told you I co-parented, so I'll talk about my other daughter who loves to my sisters. She loves talking. She talks a lot. And I told her, yes, you will talk. I won't listen. You need me to be there, but when you're talking in the morning, I can't listen to you because I just can't cope with it. But because she likes to talk, I let her talk. But I don't hear a word she's saying. Like it just comes over me. And she knows she can't tell me anything important during that time. Because if she's telling me something important during that time, it's not going to be heard. We are going to have that conversation another time. But I also make time to make sure I am listening. I am there 100% and I listen and we have an agreement and I can be there for her. I'm not saying, ignore your children because someone is going to say, Melody said you should ignore. No, like being present is being present. Be present to your kids, but they should also see you being human. One time, our door, when you close it, it locks. So one day, one of the girls closed the door. She assumed I had the keys. I'd gone to the car to put something in the boot. We wanted to go somewhere. She closed the door, and the only set of keys we had was inside. And so we couldn't go. We wanted to go. Even the car keys were inside. So we spent hours, probably not hours, probably minutes on door trying to get the keys. And we got a stick and we would through the letterbox thingy and we would so many things we were trying. And then I just got so upset and I started crying. And my kids looked at me and said, Mom, my sister was gone somewhere. I can't remember where she was, but it was just me and the girls. And I said, and I was so upset and I started crying. And I was like, if my husband was here, he would be able to fix this so easily. Why is this such a problem for me? And my kids said, okay, Mom, sit down. And I sat down. They were not even 10 yet. And I sat down and said, we'll do something. And then eventually the two of them were helping each other and they got the keys and they got them out. And I said, thank you so much. Like, I think they felt way better about obviously I'd lost control, but the fact that they could help was helpful for them to know that actually I can do something. And two, they could see I was human. I'm not a machine. And sometimes things will get on top of me, and that's okay. And I said, I'm sorry, did I scare you? And they said, no, it's okay, Mom. We could say that you were very upset, and you're upset because Dad is not here. And I said, yeah, because he's not here, and that's it. But one of the things that you mentioned, something I want to get to about parents being forgetting about your life and all it's about the kids and all that. But you're also teaching your children that their needs are not important. Because when you meet your needs, you are demonstrating to your kids that your needs matter. So when they need something, they will be able to ask for it from you. Most of us as parents, one of the biggest complaints I've had, especially in Western culture, is our children never tell us what's going on in their lives. We don't know. But how can they tell you? Do they know what you need? You're saying to them by not showing them that it's okay to have your needs unmet. It's good. That's the way we live life. You never ask for anything, you never demand anything, you cope on your own. But if you are in the home, African culture is everybody contributes. So I'm used to everybody contributing. And it's not just contributing to a plate of dinner, it's contributing to everything. When you are stressing, I can hug you and make you feel better. I don't necessarily need to give you a solution. I can just give you a hug, and that is enough. Or I can tell you, oh, when I had this problem, I went to that person to help me. Maybe you can go there too. Oh, we can talk about it. It's your choice. But at least we know no one stands alone. We all need each other. And children learn from demonstration. They have to, you can tell them for 100 years, but if you show them this and you show them by how you are doing it, and every little thing you're doing, they are watching. So be mindful of that. So every single thing you are doing, your children are watching. And if you are showing that in order for you to get outside the door, you have to hold the makeup done and everything, your kids will do that too. Because that's what you're showing them.
Yeah. Yes. So true. I also had an incident with the doors locking, and not outside the home, but like the doors have locks, and sometimes the doors lock, and I discover how I can pick locks. I learned. And
I
you
love
get
that.
flustered because it's not working out the first time, but you learn. And one time my son helped me and says, "Yeah, like I sit there for hours trying to do it, and he comes and he does it in 5 seconds." Like,
Yeah.
last time I just did it. And they feel so helpful when
Yes.
when that happens. So
They feel so proud as well. They feel like at least I'm useful. I've done something to help my mother, and now my mother loves me even more. Even though you will be like your love never changes, but they'll feel like, oh yes, I'm a hero, right? Especially little boys. They love being heroes, and you allow little boys to be your heroes by giving them little projects to do, because unlike girls, little boys become good men and good men to women by how you allow them to do things for you. And this is such an important thing women forget. We think we create men by doing things for boys, bringing them whatever, bring them. Actually, when you allow boys to go fetch for you, to go get this, and you say thank you so much, they love that, and they will always love that. One of my brothers are way younger than me, like over 10 years younger. The last born, I was in boarding school when he was born, and I came home from school, and we had mango trees on our yard, and he came to me and he said, everybody knew mango is my favorite fruit, so he said, do you want mangoes? And I said yes. And he climbed the tree. I was looking at him, climbing the tree, got a bowl, filled it with mangoes, washed them, and came and gave them to me, and I ate the mangoes, and I was so happy. And he said, and I went to him and said, "Oh, I'm so happy. Like, I've told this story so many times, and every time he hears me telling that story, he feels happy himself, because it's like, to him, it was such a simple thing. To me, it was like, one, he knows me, he knows what I like. He's doing this to please me. And I know women, we want to be independent, we want to do everything for ourselves, whatever, whatever. It's great we are able to do that. But in order to equip our men to appreciate us, we need to allow them to help. We need to allow them to do things for us. And especially when I'm looking at the little boys and you say, can you go and fetch this for me? Can you do this for me, please? And you say, thank you so much. You're my hero. That word, hero. Like, he will never stop, because men are fed by praise and appreciation.
thank you. You just taught me something important in the way I raise my child.
Oh, thank you.
Is there anything I haven't asked that you would like to share?
Just to say, I am a relationship coach, and the most important thing about relationships that we all forget is starts with you. There's things that you need to do. You need to heal. If you haven't taken the time to look at what has been messed up in my life, you might think, I had a great life, whatever. I had a great life, I've told you. But my parents sent me to boarding school at 12. And I had abandonment issues I didn't even know I had. It wasn't because they didn't love me. They were actually doing it because they loved me so much. They wanted to give me the best in life. I hungered for home the whole time I was away. I was away 3 months, like 3 months and then 1 month. I was at home 3 months for 3 months during the year. 9 months I was away in school. And I was, even now, I'm the first one to reach out to mom. I hungered for my mother and my father. And so much that sometimes it was physically painful. And I would get sick and I would go home. The moment I arrived, I'll be fine. And my dad would be like, you were not sick. And I'd be like, I was in bed. Like, now I know my soul was feeling really disconnected, because in boarding school, there's no mother, there's no father. There's just you at 12 with other kids that are also homesick, and no one is able to help anybody. And and it's so hard. So healing is important. It's such an important exercise to do for yourself. Look at your life. See some of the things you're not particularly happy about. Maybe it could be that your mother favored your brother or your sister or whatever. Those things, we carry them and they harm us. And when you heal, take time to connect to yourself, to connect to nature, to, get water around you. It's things that make you feel grounded. Identify things that make you feel good. Keep a list of them. When you feel awful about something, look at the list. Pick one or two of those things and do them. It could be dancing to a song for 5 minutes, right? It's if that's what makes you rock, do that. And then you start feeling good, and then you can be the best version of yourself to the world, especially to your children. We need to start creating a world where our children from now on will have the tools that they need to create a better world. Where we are going, like this whole disconnection that we have, is because we were not healing all this time. We're just carrying trauma. Connection is important. Love yourself, love your children, and love yourself, and then love your children. Don't say, "Oh, I will dedicate all the love to the children, and then one day I'll love myself," because it doesn't work like that. You can't give what you don't have. The more you love, the more you can love your children too. And yeah, keep loving. I'm a I'm joy and love are my things. So keep loving yourself, keep seeking joy, whatever makes you happy, even if people think you're crazy. The funny thing is with the internet now, there's always a community, even community of things that you think really, but it's okay if that's what you love. Find your community, be with those people, and your children will appreciate it. And the world will appreciate you for how you raised your kids.
Yeah, so true. And I totally agree with you about self-love and doing stuff that you do love. By the way, what is one of your favorite things to do? How do you lift your spirits up when something is not working?
I go to the trees. I live like I'm Dublin Mountains. Like I can see the trees. Like in 5 minutes, I'll be up the mountain. I go to the trees. I just stand among trees and they calm me down. Or I have water. I can have a shower and it helps. I have water source on my desk as well sometimes, and that helps a lot. Just hearing the water, it helps me think as well, which is crazy, but yeah. And talking. Talking about important things. Like I find sometimes when I'm talking to my mom and my sisters, we can be on the phone for 4 hours. Thank you, WhatsApp. And we talk about things. And the more we talk about things, the more we talk about important things, like things that really matter, like that can change the world even. Those conversations, and they help me to process, they help me to see the world and have hope that we can, if all these ideas are coming up, I believe in the universe, and everything going and shared, even if I don't say anything, it will go into the ether, and so because of that, I yeah, talking is very important to me.
Good, good, good. For me, it's singing. Singing
Oh.
for me.
Yeah. Yeah, I used to sing a lot. I don't sing as much. And laughter actually. So after my husband passed away, we were all depressed in the house. We were miserable. And the one thing we started doing, we stopped watching the news, we stopped watching anything that was serious, and we just started watching the comedy channel. I think for 9 months straight, we were just watching comedies. And even though we were laughing, but we were not joyful, eventually we started to get joyful. And that was, so what I did to recover, or to heal from my husband's death, was watching comedies, reading fluff, therapy. I had two therapists, and I discovered meditation and yoga, and and the whole nature, intentionally going to nature, going to the beach, all those things. Like I have like an arsenal of things that I can do. And sometimes it's just getting up and dancing. I've always loved dancing because melody and music and all that. I feel music in my body when I dance. So all those things I do constantly, or here and there. Sometimes I do most of them together. Sometimes I just do one thing, and it revives me and yeah, rejuvenates me.
Yeah. Yes. I love it. Thank you so much for this amazing conversation, for coming and sharing your story. It was a pleasure to have you.
Thank you so much for inviting me, Irina. I really enjoyed myself actually, and had an amazing conversation. Thanks.